Summers in my small town were always scorching, lazy days stretched into endless evenings. We, the children of Oakhaven, lived for those long summer days. We roamed free, our laughter echoing through the quiet streets. Our playground was the sprawling woods behind our homes, a place of wonder and imagination. One sweltering afternoon, we stumbled upon a clearing we'd never seen before. A circle of ancient oak trees stood sentinel, their branches intertwined overhead. Sunlight filtering through the leaves cast dancing patterns on the mossy ground. It was there in that enchanted space that we invented footsteps in the dark. The rules were simple. One of us, chosen by drawing straws, would be the seeker. This ritual of drawing straws was always filled with a mix of excitement and dread. Each child held their breath, hoping they wouldn't be the one to wear the blindfold. The tension was palpable, a silent agreement that the game was more than just a game. Blindfolded, they would stand in the center of the circle, counting to 100. The blindfold was an old piece of cloth, frayed at the edges, adding to the mystique of the game. As the seeker counted, their voice echoed through the stillness of the night, each number a reminder of the impending search. The rest of us would scatter into the woods, our muffled giggles swallowed by the rustling leaves. The forest was our playground, its shadows and hidden nooks perfect for concealing our small forms. We knew every tree, every bush, and every hiding spot, yet each game felt like a new adventure. As the seeker reached 100, they would remove their blindfold and begin their search. The moment the blindfold came off, the game shifted. The seeker's eyes, adjusting to the darkness, would scan the surroundings, looking for any sign of movement. The thrill of the hunt was on. The last one found became the seeker for the next round. This rule kept the game going, a continuous cycle of hiding and seeking. It was a badge of honor to be the last one found, a testament to one's skill in evading capture. It was a simple game, filled with the thrill of the chase and the sweet relief of finding a hiding spot just in time. The adrenaline rush of being pursued, the quiet satisfaction of a well-chosen hiding place. These were the moments we lived for. But as the summer wore on, a strange unease began to creep into our game. The woods, once our sanctuary, started to feel different. The shadows seemed darker, the silence more profound. It was as if the forest itself was watching us, waiting. The game, once a source of joy, began to carry an undercurrent of fear. We couldn't quite put our finger on it, but we all felt it. The thrill of the chase was still there, but now it was tinged with something else, something that made our hearts race for a different reason. It started subtly, small, seemingly insignificant events. I was the first to notice. After a particularly intense round of footsteps, I found a small, intricately carved wooden bird nestled amongst the roots of my favorite hiding tree. It was a beautiful piece, polished, smooth by countless hands. I showed it to the others, but they dismissed it as something someone had probably lost. But something about the bird unsettled me. It felt personal, as if it was meant specifically for me. Then came the whispers. Faint, indistinct murmurs that seemed to follow us through the woods. They were always just out of earshot, carried on the breeze, impossible to decipher. We'd stop, our breaths catching in our throats, straining to hear. But the whispers would fade as quickly as they came, leaving us with a cold, prickly feeling at the back of our necks. We told ourselves it was just the wind playing tricks on us, but deep down, a seed of doubt had been planted. Our once carefree laughter became laced with a nervous tension. The woods, our sanctuary, were starting to feel different, as if something unseen was watching us. The tension culminated one hazy evening. We were playing our usual game of footsteps, the air thick with the smell of pine needles and approaching rain. I remember the feeling of being watched, my heart pounding in my chest as I hid behind a fallen log. As the seeker counted, I dared to peek over the log, and that's when I saw it. A figure, shrouded in darkness, standing at the edge of the woods. I couldn't make out any features, just a tall, imposing silhouette against the twilight sky. The figure lingered for a moment, then melted back into the trees as silently as it had appeared. It was as if the shadows themselves had swallowed it whole, leaving no trace behind. The forest seemed to breathe a sigh of relief, the rustling leaves whispering secrets I could not understand. I didn't tell the others what I had seen. How could I? They would never believe me, and even if they did, what could they do about it? The fear gnawed at me, a silent predator lurking in the corners of my mind. What good would it do? Sharing my encounter would only spread the fear, infecting the others with the same dread that now haunted me. It was a burden I chose to carry alone, hoping it would fade with time. But the encounter left me shaken. Every rustle of leaves, every shadow that moved in the corner of my eye reminded me of that figure. Sleep became elusive, my dreams plagued by faceless silhouettes and whispering trees. The next day I found another gift waiting for me. It was left in the same spot as before, a place that had now become a focal point of my anxiety. The gift seemed to mock my fear, its presence a constant reminder of the unknown. This time it was a porcelain doll, its painted eyes staring vacantly ahead. The craftsmanship was exquisite, each detail meticulously rendered, yet it exuded an unsettling aura. It felt as though the doll was watching me, its gaze following my every move. It was beautiful yet undeniably creepy. The white lace dress it wore seemed almost too perfect, as if it had been made specifically for this doll. The contrast between its delicate appearance and the eerie feeling it evoked was jarring. The other children were starting to get scared too. They whispered among themselves, casting nervous glances at the forest and the doll. The sense of unease was spreading, a silent contagion that none of us could escape. The whispers grew louder, the feeling of being watched more intense. It was as if the forest itself had eyes, observing our every move, waiting for the right moment to reveal its secrets. The air was thick with tension, each breath a struggle against the growing fear. Our once beloved game had transformed into a source of dread. Footsteps in the dark, a game we had played countless times, now felt like a dangerous dance with the unknown. The laughter that once filled the air was replaced by nervous giggles and hushed whispers. We stopped playing footsteps in the dark, but the feeling of unease lingered, a dark cloud hanging over our summer. The joy and freedom we once felt were overshadowed by a sense of impending doom. The forest, once our playground, had become a place of fear and mystery, its secrets hidden in the shadows. We tried to forget about the game, to push it to the back of our minds. We tried to convince ourselves that our imaginations had run wild, fueled by the summer heat and whispered ghost stories. But the fear was a living, breathing thing, slithering into our dreams, turning our laughter into nervous silence. We stopped going into the woods altogether. The clearing with the ancient oak trees became a forbidden zone, a place we avoided at all costs. Summer was drawing to a close, the days growing shorter, the air turning crisp. As the first leaves began to turn, we decided to play one last game of footsteps in the dark. We told ourselves it was to face our fears, to reclaim the joy that had been stolen from us, but deep down, we knew it was a mistake. The air was heavy with dread as we drew straws. This time it was my best friend Emily who was chosen to be the seeker. I can still see her face, pale and drawn, as she tied the blindfold over her eyes. We counted in unison, our voices trembling. As Emily reached 100, a cold wind swept through the clearing, tearing at our clothes, whipping our hair around our faces. We scattered into the woods, our fear propelling us forward. I ran until I couldn't run anymore, my lungs burning, my legs screaming for respite. When I finally stopped, my heart pounding in my ears, I realized I was alone. The woods were silent, the others gone. I never saw Emily or the others again. It was as if they vanished into thin air, leaving behind only memories and unanswered questions. The playground, once filled with laughter and joy, now stood eerily silent, a haunting reminder of their absence. The police searched for weeks, combing through every inch of the woods and surrounding areas. They brought in search dogs, helicopters, and even volunteers from neighboring towns. But despite their exhaustive efforts, they were never found. It was as if the earth had swallowed them whole, leaving no trace behind. No explanation was ever given, no clues ever uncovered. The few leads that did surface led to dead ends, and the case grew colder with each passing day. The town was left in a state of perpetual unease, with whispers of what might have happened spreading like wildfire. The case went cold, a haunting mystery that cast a long shadow over our small town. Oakhaven was never the same after that summer. The once tight-knit community became a place of suspicion and fear, with neighbors eyeing each other warily, wondering if the culprit was among them. I left Oakhaven soon after, but I never forgot that summer. The memories of those days lingered in my mind, a constant reminder of the friends I lost and the innocence that was shattered. Every sunset reminded me of the day I said goodbye to my hometown, leaving behind the shadows that had taken root there. The whispers, the gifts, the figure in the shadows. They've stayed with me, a chilling reminder of a childhood game that turned sinister. I often find myself replaying those moments in my mind, trying to piece together the puzzle of what really happened. The figure, always lurking just out of sight, became a symbol of the unknown, a spectre that haunted my dreams. To this day, I can't shake the feeling that someone or something was watching us that summer. The sense of being observed, of eyes following my every move, has never left me. It's a feeling that has seeped into every aspect of my life, making me wary of the shadows and the secrets they might hold. And sometimes in the dead of night, I could swear I hear the faint echo of footsteps in the dark. The sound is so subtle, so fleeting, that I often wonder if it's just my imagination. But deep down, I know it's real. It's a reminder that the past is never truly gone, and the shadows of that summer will always be a part of me.